A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Very warm welcome to StudyIQ, and today is 5th of February 2020. Day is Wednesday. We have very interesting articles on our table. The first one is Navy to the Rescue. Yesterday I asked you a question about Madagascar. Remember Operation Vanilla? And it was basically about Operation Vanilla. So we have a mention of Operation Vanilla in this article here, and it's basically about our Navy and how things are going on in Indian Ocean region and the things that we need to do. But before that, I would like to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses, which are available for various different competitive exams. They are designed by the best faculties of our nation, and they are our paid and premium courses. To find out more about it, do visit studyiq.com. To download the PDF of today's lecture, you have two sources on your screen. One is my FB page and the second one is my Telegram channel. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. If you have learned something from today's discussion, do hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So, yesterday I asked you a question about this country called Madagascar. So, as you can see on your screen, this is the map of Madagascar. This is the capital here. And where do you find this country? You find it in Indian Ocean. This is Indian Ocean from India. If we head towards a southwestern side of Indian Ocean, we find this country Madagascar. It is part of Africa continent. It's an island nation, of course, but it is an African. It falls under this African umbrella. You have this Mozambique channel that is between, or the water of Mozambique channel divides Mozambique and Madagascar. You can see on this side, on the eastern side, you have Mauritius and France Reunion Island, and here you can see Mozambique channel. This is Indian Ocean water, island nation. Most of important things I have already told you. Now I have one interesting question for you guys. As you can see here, this is 22 degree, this is 24 degree here. So can you tell me the line 23 degree 0.5 degree line? What is the name of this line that is passing through this country Madagascar? Now why it is in news? Because of Operation Vanilla. Earlier this week, India sent an amphibious warship, this one that you can see on your screen. The name is INS Airavat, and this was sent to this country on the request of Madagascar president. He basically asked for international help to deal with this floods that were going on in this country, and India sent this naval ship. It was loaded with clothes, food, medicines and other important humanitarian assistance. Now, humanitarian operations have emerged as a key component of Indian Navy's peacetime strategy in IOR, that is Indian Ocean region. I have for you more examples for you guys. Mozambique. This is the country, Mozambique. As you can see here, this is Mozambique here. So, March 2019, Cyclone Idai hit this Mozambique. And I have one more important thing for you guys. See, you can expect match the following type of question in your prelims examination. So remember the name of operations as well. Operation Vanilla, you will find Operation Vanilla on one side and name or operations on one side and countries. So Operation Vanilla, Indian operation of course, but for which country? Answer is Madagascar. Then Sankat Motion, Operation Sankat Motion for which country? Again, you have to keep. Then Operation Samudra Maitri. It's for Indonesia. Indonesia had this big earthquake in this Sulawesi island, and Prime Minister Modi and President Joko Widodo, they had a word, and then finally India quickly sent this relief material to this earthquake. Devastated Sulawesi. So remember this names, operations as well as countries names, and cyclone names and countries name as well. This type of questions are also they do appear in prelims examination. So Mozambique was hit by Idai. Then you have this Japan. It was hit by Typhoon Hagibis. And we helped Japan as well during this Typhoon Hagibis. Though Japan is well experienced and it's a resourceful country, but then as well, our help was very appreciated by a country like Japan. We have this Sagar initiative as well, that is security and growth for all in the region. Prime Minister Modi talked about this Sagar, and Sagar is for all the nations, right, that are sharing its border with this Indian Ocean. So starting from India, Pakistan, Iran, all these countries, right? You have this Gulf countries, this Dubai and other, when I say Dubai, I'm talking about UAE. And so you have all this Australia and everyone. Take them on board when we talk about Sagar. And of course, from the name itself, you can say security, peaceful, free, rules and regulations. When I say free, I mean to say free for navigation without any hindrance or any threats. Rules and regulations are obeyed and followed. So this is all part of the security umbrella. Then you have growth, economical growth, humanitarian growth, and all these things are part of this big growth title. Now, after 2004 tsunami, India has been very active in helping all these countries at various different point of time. And our image at present is of a regional security provider. But we have to keep in mind that we don't send a wrong signal. We are not doing this thing for just geopolitical benefits. Of course, when you do something, when you are helping a country, I'll give you one example. Let's talk about this country, Madagascar. So now we have helped Madagascar, no doubt. So in future, if we want our naval ships or our aircraft base over there, Air Force base basically over there, then if we have worked with Madagascar, if we have helped Madagascar, then naturally we have tried to win the hearts and minds of the people of Madagascar. So things are going to be much more smooth. There will be a trust between two parties, isn't it? But this is not the only reason why we are doing it. So we have to be very careful that we are not sending a wrong signal. Remember operation in Yemen back in 2015, 1,500 Indian citizens and there were 1,300 foreign nationals. And let me again show you which portion of the world we are talking. We are talking about Yemen. Here you have this this city called Port City, Aden. And this war, it all started altogether in 2015. So our ships were here and then people were rescued and they were taken to Djibouti. And from Djibouti they were boarded on plane and they were brought back to India. So that was a big operation and it was appreciated by countries like USA because USA and other countries, they were not able to help their citizens at that point of time. But India provided assistance to this country. So, it was a good thing and there was you can say a very positive environment for India because of what we did. Then Socotra Island, again it is part of this country Yemen. You can see on your screen it is mentioned here. This is Socotra Island. So it was hit by this cyclone and 38 Indians and other people were rescued by Indian Navy. So our whole philosophy, naval philosophy, is becoming more and more first responder when it comes to IOR or Indian Ocean region. And of course this is generating political goodwill as well about India, for India in neighborhood. But there are a few things that we need to do. First of all, I have already told you that we have to be very careful that we are not creating a wrong image. The second thing is, we are using our regular warships and survey ships for providing medical aid. And countries like USA, China, they have dedicated hospital ships. So we need to have some hospital ships here. Then we can coordinate with other Indo-Pacific navies. Let's say Quad, Quad group, quadrilateral. You have 4 countries here: India, Japan, Australia, USA. So these 3 countries, they are well experienced, they are well equipped. So India can learn so many things and we can ask them to give us a hand if we are helping some country in IOR. Because out of this 4 countries, the 3 countries, India, Japan and 2 countries, India and Australia, they are already sharing its border with Indian Ocean. And when it comes to Indo-Pacific, all these 4 countries are important. They have this group as well to make sure that they keep a sort of an eye or a cap on the expansion of China in various different regions. So humanitarian operations could serve as a springboard for a larger cooperative endeavor in the maritime commons. But again, as I told you, we have to be careful. We don't want to send a wrong signal. Apart from that, I'm sure this article was interesting, as well as I'm sure you have got most important points. Now let's move on to another one. Again, it's an interesting article. It's about maritime presence. Now you have this organization called IMO, International Maritime Organization. It falls under United Nations, International Maritime Organization. Some basic facts: 174 member states are part of it. There are 3 associate members as well. You have many non-governmental organizations as well as intergovernmental organizations are part of this IMO. IMO, like any other UN agency, is primarily a secretariat. IMO's policies or conventions have a serious impact on every aspect of shipping, including cost of maritime trade. And the permanent representatives are located at London, UK. Now, International Maritime Organization was in news because just recently it has mandated that this merchant ships, they have to use fuel that is having sulfur content not greater than 0.5% starting from 1st January. Now, till now we were using 3.5%, or the content limit was 3.5% as far as this sulfur is concerned. So now this change is going to create it has created a bit of you can say a sort of a wave or a ripple effect in refineries. Their cost has gone up, fuel cost has gone up. There are many countries, they are facing some technical issues as well, like their equipments are getting damaged, clogging up devices and other things. These are some technical as well as issues that are going on in different parts, and of course it is important for IMO as well to look after this reduction of nitrogen oxides or ozone depleting gases, and there are some other harmful gases that are emitted by these ships. Now, one more thing that I would like to highlight here is that this maritime or this waterways trade is a very important, or it plays a very important role, because 90% in terms of volume and 80% in terms of value. I'm talking about global trade. Global trade's 90% volume and 80% value is covered by this ships or this maritime route. So it plays a very important role, and price rise because of this fuel decision will impact every country. Now, there are a few countries that are very smart, or there are a few regions, they know how to, they have been with this IMO for a very long period of time. Like, for example, European countries, if they have any proposal, if they want to throw some weight, if they want a law, if they want to change a law, or if they want to bring back an old law, then they will propose their requests in unison. So it will have more weight and more voting and support. In the same way, Japan, China, Singapore, Korea, with other countries, they represent their interest through their permanent representatives in London. But when it comes to India, it's very sad that from last 25 years, this permanent representative post at London has remained vacant for 25 years. And number of submissions so far are, you can count with fingers, like they're small in number. So basically, India is not that active when it comes to IMO, and because of this thing, we have faced a huge amount of losses as well in the past. And if we don't engage now, then we may face losses in future as well. For example, this high risk areas was declared by IMO. I will take you through this map of Indian Ocean region quickly. So basically, this portion of Indian Ocean was declared as a high risk area because of piracy and other things. Now, of course, the piracy was a problem. Somalian pirates were a bit of problem over here, but Indian Navy is also present here, and it was not that big problem. But because IMO and India is not engaging with IMO, this high risk area, this southwest coast of India was declared as a piracy infested region, and because of this thing, insurance amount it went up, and this created a bit of exiting or entering this southwest coast of India became a bit of problem and expensive affair because of insurance cost. Then we have this case of Enrica Lexi. I'm not sure how many of you are aware about this thing, but back in 2012, there was this big merchant ship, Enrica Lexi, and 2 Italian Marines were on board. So they found a small boat, and they shot some warning shots, and finally they killed. I'm not sure whether they launched some warning shots. I don't remember technicalities of this particular thing, but I know the big picture that because of this Enrica Lexi incident, relationship between India and Italy, they was become very bad in shape because of this thing. And basically it was about the shooting of this Karelian fishermen. They were been killed by these two Marines, and these Marines were kept in jail for a very long period of time, and the matter went to Supreme Court, and diplomatic relations were spoiled, and so many things took place because of this incident. And the root cause is considered as this high risk area because of this, because this portion was declared as a high risk area. This naturally this Enrica Lexi, this naval personnel, or this basically defense personnel on board, Italian defense personnel, they thought that these people are pirates and they killed them. So all these things are taking place because the root cause is India is not engaging actively with this IMO, and India should do it, because with Navik as well, this navigation with Indian constellation, this amalgamation, or you can say this synchronization of this Navik with World Maritime Navigation System is also difficult because of India's lack of engagement with this organization. So I hope this thing is clear to you. So we have done with these two articles. Now let's talk about editorials, right? Easy to understand editorials we have on board. The first one is Need of the Hour. It's about CAA. Now this article is saying that when this whole protest and whole thing came out, CAA and NRC protesters, so there were right thinking people as well from all walks of life, non-Muslims and other people as well. They came out on the street or on social media. They used their own platforms to oppose this CAA and NRC. And when I'm saying oppose, I'm talking about a logical discussion. I'm talking about their critical analysis. I'm not talking about those violence and those stone pelters, right? That's not protest. That is more like a violence. So in our country, everyone has this right to protest, and Muslims as well have equal rights. In our country, in our constitution does not discriminate between people of our country based on sex, religion, their caste, or their background, the area from which they are coming. Everyone is equal. Every one of us, we are citizens of our country, India, isn't it? So now, this whole CAA debate is, limited to this Muslim rights and this question of Muslim right. And this is something, a sort of dishonor of the pluralist as well as inclusive constitution of our country. This matter at present is before the Supreme Court. So the best thing that has been suggested in this editorial, or the need of the hour, is that anti-CAA protesters must now hold their fire. Means they should wait and watch for now. Let the Supreme Court decide on this thing. Then we have punish the police, and this one is about a school in Karnataka. There was a children's play, and finally the police personnel, they have been visiting this school for some days now, and they have arrested a teacher and a parent. And the main blame on them is sedition, means doing something that is against our country. And it's very sad to know this thing that, this, small kids play, this children's play conducted in a school. And now parents and, teachers are being arrested because the police is thinking that their act will lead to violence and, violence in society. And this is bit childish, I would say, because many times, it's not the first time, and even Supreme Court has observed that anti-national and sedition, these are the things that are used quite loosely, and quite frequently in our nation. And earlier on as well, this sedition, this rules or the section 124A has been misused by police as well as powerful politicians. So we have to be very careful. This is a draconian law. If you are saying something, if you're writing something that can genuinely create violence in society, then of course, you should be arrested, so that you are not adding more fuel to the fire, or you cannot add more. So basically, to prevent this sort of things, we can take steps, but prevention should be logical, should be rational. If you are using it for for political vendetta, or for just muscle flexing, then this is something that is not acceptable, particularly in a country like India, where we have democracy as well as a very strong as well as good constitution. Then we have beyond preparedness. Beyond preparedness is about, so far we have gone through all these articles, right? So we have 3 articles to go. This one is beyond preparedness. It's about natural disaster. Now, it all started back in 1999. Big super cyclone hit Odisha. Then we had this Bhuj earthquake in Gujarat, and 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. So after that, our country came out with this Disaster Management Act of 2005, which talks about national level, state level, and district level disaster management authorities. Now, Disaster Management Act is going to be amended by our cabinet, and so far our focus has been good. Improving preparedness, providing immediate relief, and protecting infrastructure. And by this focus, we have managed to save or to bring down the number of casualties, and this is a good thing. But we have neglected a key aspect of disaster management, and that is long-term recovery. Short-term, good thing. If you are working on proactive basis, it's a good thing as well. We can save lives. But just saving life is not going to be enough. What will happen after the disaster has gone? Not for short-term, but for long-term. For a few weeks, things are okay. For a few months, yes, okay. But what will happen 2 years down the line or 5 years down the line? That is a thing that is missing here in Disaster Management Act of 2005. So far, we have this timely warning system, relief shelters, massive evacuation exercises, all these things we have done. And there are a few states like Andhra Pradesh, there are a few villages, they are very trained, villages, they know safety point, where they should go when they have some sort of cyclone. They have dedicated grassroots level personnel as well. Like a person from your village, you have to follow his or her instruction if you find this sort of cyclone or other natural disaster. So it's a very good thing that we have this sort of this level of things taking place in states like or parts of Andhra Pradesh. But this is not something that we find in every village, because our country has various different challenges. In northern portion like Himalayan belt, you have earthquake issues. In parts of Gujarat and other places, you have some Kutch region, you have earthquake issues, right? Earthquakes are quite common. Tsunami, we have a big coastal area, so tsunami prone regions are also there. So every region, every village, that is falling under different natural calamity zone should have different culture. So this is something that we don't find everywhere. So that's a big negative thing. The other thing is recovery measures should address inherent vulnerabilities pertaining to livelihood, education, water, sanitation, health, ecology, and psychological needs as well should be covered. Like many people, they lose everything, their family members, many times their houses and other things. So how they can start their new life, supporting them, creating a culture where people will work with each other and create a society where people will help. So people will feel like their whole village is more like a family. We can create this culture, and this sort of culture will help us mitigate this effect of disasters, and particularly for long term. Let me give you an example of Kerala. Like a few years ago, we had this massive floods. So many, now their life will change. Like tourism got affected. So how Kerala is going to generate revenue? People have to diversify in terms of their livelihood. So all these things should be part of this Disaster Management Act. And now we have continuity and fiscal follow through. This one is about 15th Finance Commission. This article is written by a person who was part of 14th Finance Commission. Very interesting article, but we have already talked about the background of this thing, because a few days ago I talked about this. I asked you a question as well about 15th Finance Commission. We talked about Jammu and Kashmir, and earlier on 42% was given to states, but now it is 41% because Jammu and Kashmir is now a territory. In fact, we have two new union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. So security expenses are on central government. So from 42, it has, this 15th Finance Commission has reduced the share of states to 41%. So remember these things we have talked about. So 15th Finance Commission, it was appointed by President of India, and President of India appoints a 15th Finance or any Finance Commission under Article 280, and the time period was 2020-21 to 2024-25. It was supposed to submit its report on 30th October 2019, but because of various political as well as fiscal developments, things are or were delayed. The first report has been tabled by our Finance Minister in Parliament before this Union Budget on 1st of February 2019, and it has, as we know, the Jammu and Kashmir topic I have already covered. Then we have some other challenges like growth. We are going through a slowdown phase. Inflation was low, now it is very high. Poor revenue collection, GST collection, indirect tax collection is very down. Evasion is taking place, and there are other problems with collection. So as far as money is concerned, government is in a tight corner. So keeping all these things in mind, this commission has continued the approach and methodology adopted, and means because of all this political as well as revenue things were delayed. To get a proper picture, you need more time. So all this development led to delay in this report. So only an interim report was released on 1st February. I'm sure you are aware about it. I especially emphasize that it was an interim report the last time when we had conversation on this 15th Finance Commission thing. And then we talked about Kerala as well. Remember that states who have done well in terms of controlling population, they should be rewarded and not punished. And this 15th Finance Commission talks about these 3 layers of panchayats and giving grants to them, and 50% of this grant should be tied to this drinking water and other things, and rest of the these grants are untied. It means states can take their own decisions, or grassroots level people can take, administration can take a decision where they have to spend this or where they should spend this money. It talks about sectoral grants as well, like nutrition and looking after lactating mothers and other things. So the challenge, however, will be to design dovetail sectoral and performance grants, like how we are going to, there are so many centrally sponsored schemes, central sectors. So how we are going to, evaluate their performance and things. These are the things that are going to be challenged. Apart from that, most of the things we have already talked about. So nothing that new in this article. Then we have last one. This is very interesting solution providing article, how to reduce NRC's administrative burden. Now, NRC, CAA, we have to fill up forms and other things. So is there any way out? Is there any method through which we can reduce the burden and we can solve this issue? Yes, there is. And for that, we have to see what European Union countries did. Back in 2017, they came out with this Tallinn Declaration on e-government. Remember the name, Tallinn Declaration is for e-government pertaining to European countries. Again, 8B, match the following question can easily be formed from this declaration's name. So keep this thing in mind, it's very important. Now, the once only principle, this Tallinn Declaration came out with this the once only principle. So once you have provided some basic information about yourself to the government, you don't need to provide the same information again. Like, say for example, Aadhaar card. I have provided my birth date, my address, my biometrics, right, my name, all these things. So again, I don't have to provide this thing. This is if we are under this the once only principle, under this stoop, then this is how it will work. So European Union's single digital gateway regulation is a very important step, and It removes this unnecessary administrative burdens on citizens. We don't have to, stand in a long queue, waste our energy and time. And it will create a positive environment as well. Like, we don't have to rush from one office to another to collect documents. Government should do these things for us. Now, under this TUP, the government first presents the full details of all information which it already has, as far as one citizen is concerned. So, for example, if we talk about you, then government is having your, you have election card, you have Aadhaar, you have mobile, you have a bank account. So government can collect information about you from all these various sources, and it can create a proper list. And if government is looking for any 2 or 3 missing things, right, then it can ask to you to provide only these things. You don't have to provide all these things. Yes, you can verify it, that this is my Aadhaar number, mobile number, this is my bank account number, or you don't have to provide bank account number, but election card number, or your address and other things. And once you are happy about this thing, you just have to tick one box that, yes, I'm happy with this thing, and these are the things you need. Okay, these are the things, you can get it from here. And simple, that's it. So it will make it easier as well. And this is something that government should do. And we can learn so many things from this TUP, isn't it? So it's a win-win thing, and it will, it will pacify this protest and other negative things that are going on. And then we have news items. So no decision yet on Pan India NRC. So again, right, ministers should learn from TUP. Then why no action on pleas on Tamil Nadu MLAs has been asked by Supreme Court to the Speaker of Tamil Nadu Assembly. Then you have this interesting news item. Means it's sad, of course, that 2 infected people of this coronavirus in Kerala, they fled to Saudi Arabia. Nirbhaya case, High Court to decide on plea today. Maharashtra tops list of states hit by global medical data leak, and FIR against 2 IPS officers in eye monitoring advisory scam. And Healing Christ statue that you can see on your screen enters URF Book of World Records. And that's everything in today's discussion, dear friends. Thank you very much for watching this video and this series on regular basis. I really appreciate your love and support. And the next lecture from my side today will be daily financial news analysis. It will be around 5 p.m. today on StudyIQ channel. And that's everything from my side as far as the Hindu news analysis is concerned. God bless you all. Jai Hind.